Let's talk about illusions.
Yay!
No, not illusion with an I. That's talking about magic. This is allusion, brought to you by the letter A. It's an important part of figurative language, and it can be a little confusing. So let's dive into it and figure out what it is and how to identify it. An allusion is when the author briefly and indirectly references something with historical, cultural, literary, or political significance. That might be the type of definition that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so let's look at some examples. For instance, when he smiles at me, it becomes my kryptonite. This contains an allusion to, yeah, it's Superman.
I'll mold this box into your prison bars.
If you know anything about this comic book hero, then you know that kryptonite takes away his strength.
I told you.
But that sentence isn't about Superman. It's really about how someone can make you feel shy, weak, and faint just by their smile. How about Angie is never stressed or upset? It makes me think she's somehow won a golden ticket to life. I know this one. This comes from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. And finally, I wish I could just click my heels and make my problems go away. If you thought Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, you were correct.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
So why are allusions sometimes hard to spot? It's because they are referencing some other famous work. And the only way to know that is to know something about that work. That means you have to be well read and have read lots of important things. So what are the top 3 categories that are alluded to the most? Let's see if you can figure it out. Here's part of the word. Can you figure out the rest of the letters? Ah, mythology. How about this one? If you guessed Shakespeare, you're correct.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
And finally, yes, the Bible. Many times, these 3 sources are alluded to the most in literature, so it's good to be aware of them. Now, this next part is very important. Not every mention is considered an allusion. In other words, not every reference is an allusion. But aren't all allusions references? Yep. Let me show you what I mean by some examples. I think Batman is better than Superman. This is not an allusion. This is just considered a reference. Whenever I get the chance, I go back and reread Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because it's such a great story. Yeah, reference. Whenever I watch The Wizard of Oz, it makes me wish I could live there. It's so magical. Yep, reference too. So none of those are allusions? Here's why. Let's talk about the difference between an allusion and a reference. If we go back to our definition, we see that allusions aren't mentioned explicitly. An allusion is indirect. A famous quote or idea from the source is used and the reader makes the connection themselves. A reference, on the other hand, is direct. The connection to the source material is very clear. Often the movie or book title is used in the sentence. Basically, for an allusion, you connect the dots. For a reference, the text connects the dots for you. The first example is only a reference because it just mentions Batman and Superman by name. There's no figuring it out. There's no deeper meaning. The second and third examples simply mention the title of the book. So why use allusions? First, you can get your point across in a much more creative way. Second, there are often emotions and ideas connected to the original source material that those in the know can appreciate. In short, allusions make for much more interesting reading. So what happens if you don't get an allusion? Well, the word itself means to play with or jest. Think of it as an inside joke by the author. If you catch it, you and the author are on the same page, and you can be proud that you know the meaning behind those words. Most of the time, you can still understand the story without catching the allusions. If you think you found an illusion, but you aren't sure, you can look it up. Your best solution, though, is to be a lifelong learner. Read as much as you can so you can be well-versed in famous concepts. That's it. I hope I cleared up your confusion on illusion, and that it was at least a little amusing.